Hello, everybody. This is Yoko's Talking Treasures, and I really should have I actually need to move. I think I might move that lamp over here next time. Anyway, I should have gotten these out a whole heck of a long time ago, essentially. But I didn't. So, I guess I'm getting them out now. I better get them out quick because I don't know when they're coming out next year, when the show season 2 is coming out next year. And I obviously want to get started on that as soon as they come out. So, this is going to be my review for Hazbin Hotel Season 1, Episode... Season 1, Episodes 6 and 7. Yes, I'm combining this one. I could put the links for both videos, for both episodes in the description. So you can go watch whichever one you want, essentially. So, Episodes 6 and 7. The trip to heaven and the aftermath of that. Well, obviously, Charlie is wanting Vaggie to go with her to heaven. Vaggie's not having it. She doesn't want to go. But she doesn't outright state this. She's kind of dancing around it, essentially, trying to get out of it somehow. And as far as we know, if you have not seen any of the theories, obviously, you do not know why. Like, why would she not want to go and support her partner, you know? I mean, she probably does want to support Charlie, she just doesn't want to go to heaven. But like I said, she doesn't know. We don't know why, essentially. Or the person who somehow has avoided spoilers of the show and avoided the theories that are floating around about this show. I mean, all the theories. Including, who Alistair is leashed to, and all that. Oh, even all the crazy theories that probably don't have any kind of basis at all. But, yeah, she's not wanting to go, and they're about to head out. Angel just gets back, wiped out from working for Valentino, doing shooting. And apparently, Valentino really likes torturing poor Angel Dust because he uses waterboarding on the poor guy. Waterboarding. That is a form of literal torture. Literally, it's torture. It's what other countries would use on their dang prisoners to get them to talk. Heck, I don't even know if America's done that at one point, but whatever. That's neither here nor there. Anyway, Cherry Bomb shows up, having gotten text from Angel Dust during this. So how would you have been texting during that? Would you have been doing it in between waterboarding? Would you have gotten a break? I'm assuming that's when he's been texting her. But yeah, she essentially tells him, yeah, let's go have a fun night on the town. You deserve it. You haven't done this in forever. And Charlie walks in and hears this, and she's like, oh yeah, you can go and take everybody with you. And at first, like, Cherry is like, what the fuck? What are you talking about? Because, Charlie's inviting everybody else to her little thing with Angel Dust when she didn't invite everybody else. That's kind of rude. But Cherry changes her mind when Charlie hands her a gigantic stack of cash. I'm assuming that Lucifer gives Charlie either an allowance or just whenever just puts money in her account every month for, I guess, expenses for the hotel. I don't know. And yeah, he was able to get her the meeting. And obviously, once she's given her the money, the portal opens up. She picks up Vaggie, tosses her in, and just leaves. And Pet just walks out, sees Cherry Bomb, thinks that she's there to, fight. And she's like, no, I'm supposed to take all you guys out with me to a club. And Pet just like, what? This is unexpected. This is the beginning of his crush on Cherry Bomb. And anyway, we cut back to Charlie and Vaggie, and they're at the gates of heaven. And St. Peter shows up, obviously doing his job of asking for the name of whoever walks up, which is obviously most of the time, except for this one particular instance, blah, 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 is normally dead souls. So she gets her name, and we look through the book, and obviously her name's not in there, but we see, like, little snippets of, I think, what was it, one of them, Charlie Morning Breakfast? Don't ask me. I don't know who fought to put that stuff in there, but yeah, I guess fun little visual jokes for people who pay attention. And she's like, no, my dad got me this meeting, so try Lucifer Morningstar, and this, he kind of freaks out, like, it might be a little lost up here. And she's like, no, we're here for a meeting, and that's when Sarah and Emily show up, who are seraphims, and they actually have apparently alternate forms before changing into their more human-like forms. Humanoid angel forms, I guess you could say, but they don't look like the typical seraphim that you see and, like, you hear about in biblical, because the seraphim do not look human in any kind of shape, form, or fashion. Don't look like anything, essentially, except, I think, dang it, what was it? I don't even know how to describe it. But they don't look like any kind of living creature, except for having the wings and the eyes all over. So, anyway, Sarah greets them. Emily, essentially, is the heaven's version of Charlie, essentially. And she greets them. And this is the first musical number, which is Welcome to Heaven, which is a very short one, I might add. And it's like a blink and you'll miss it. I don't know if I realized during the reaction, because it's been so dang long. But we actually get a glimpse of Molly, which is Angel Dust's sister in the dang show, in the background. And I loved it. During the song, Emily takes Charlie's hands, and Maggie's just staring hard at it. He was like, no, I don't like this. Like, Maggie, chill. There's not gonna be anything happening. At least not at this moment, anyway. I doubt that anything would happen anyway in the future, even if she managed to convince Heaven to work with them. Because we don't know what Emily's orientation is. She could be interested in men, she could be not interested in anything, she could be asexual, which means she's not really interested in anybody. Or, she's not interested in sex, or if she was aromantic, she's not really interested in romance. She doesn't get really the attraction, essentially. Obviously, people who are ace can have relationships and can be, have sex and everything. It's just, that's the typical thing for ace people, essentially. But anyway, like I said, we don't know what her orientation is. She might not be interested in women. Anyway, the song ends, and they're heading, I guess, to where they're going to be staying for the time being until the meeting, and they pass Adam and Lute. Obviously, you can't really tell at first that that's Lute because she doesn't have the mask on. But yeah, how they didn't realize that they passed Adam is beyond me. Because seriously, you walk past someone, Adam looks very distinct, very unique. So how you did not notice that you went past him is beyond me. Even if you were adamantly looking at everything in heaven, excited about everything, surely you would have noticed that douchebag going past you. Seriously, I'm surprised Charlie didn't realize it. I mean, sure, Vaggie probably, as far as we know, Vaggie has not seen Adam, so she wouldn't have recognized him, but Charlie sure should have. Anyway, Adam's like, what the heck are these guys doing up here? Because, you wouldn't think that they would come to heaven. And Adam starts to mention the exterminations, and Lute tells him to essentially shut up, don't mention it, because they're not supposed to be talking, only the exorcists are supposed to know about it. And that's a big piece of lore right there dropped, that essentially all of heaven, except for the exorcists, Adam, and at least one of the seraphim, possibly, none of the others know about the the exterminations, essentially. They probably just assume that the exorcists are probably just there as to protect heaven, essentially, not to go down and kill everybody. And Sarah shows up and takes them to her office and essentially tells them that, yeah, now we've got a bigger problem because you couldn't handle it. Lucifer's getting involved and trying to get his daughter up to talk about this whole thing. And one thing I never did understand. This whole thing of Charlie wanting to get heaven involved to help is not going to be of any kind of consequence to heaven. All they would have to do would probably be to send maybe a couple representatives down to hell to the hotel only. You know, they don't have to leave the hotel. They only go to the hotel. They don't go out into hell itself. Or at the very least, just keep an eye on the hotel. Pause the exterminations and let Charlie do what she has to do. It's not going to be of any real consequence to heaven if they were to work with Charlie. It's not like... Because if souls could be redeemed, only the ones that actually are redeemed would be able to make it into heaven because they obviously have a foolproof plan. Minus Adam, of course. On how people get into heaven. Because obviously, if you die and you deserve to be in heaven, then you end up in heaven. If you die and deserve to be in hell, you end up in hell. It's not like people who deserve to be in hell accidentally end up in heaven, And the other way around. You had to have done something bad, like really bad, to end up in hell. Whether that was like the bare minimum, otherwise you would have gotten into heaven, that we don't know. We don't know all the sinners, obviously, and we don't know what they've done to get into hell. We've got some ideas on some of the characters. We got an idea of Alistair, and we got some idea on Angel Dust. But other than theories on Nifty and or Husk, we don't really have any kind of concrete evidence on any of the other sinners, essentially. But obviously they would have had to done something bad to end up in hell. So, be that as it may, why are they... Excuse me. This might just be episode 6. I don't know. Anyway, because I'm looking at the time and it's already almost 13 minutes long. Good lord. Anyway, but yeah, this whole thing is not going to be... isn't going to have any kind of negative effect on heaven, essentially. Because if it doesn't work and redemption isn't possible, because obviously this is going to take time, you can't really rush it. Depending on the person you're trying to redeem, obviously. Because some probably would need less time to work on themselves than others. Depending on the person and what they did to get into hell, But if it's not possible, then at least Charlie would know, and they could try to find another way to keep hell and heaven from, clashing, from causing each other problems. Because surely they should be able to do that without having to resort to exterminations. I don't know why they couldn't have just met with... Sarah and Emily could have just met with Lucifer and Charlie, or Lucifer and Lilith, and tried to negotiate like a shoot. I don't know if I would call it a ceasefire or a peace treaty or something like that, so that way both sides would leave each other alone, we would do our own things, we wouldn't bother each other, and everybody would be just fine, essentially. And they wouldn't have to worry about losing anybody to anybody, But they could have done that. I don't know why Sarah didn't do that from the start when they saw that hell was getting very populated. I don't know why they didn't do that from the start. They could have had Lucifer and Lilith talking about it with her. Met they could have met at the Heaven Embassy if it had been built by that point. And they could have discussed what to do about the rising hell population. They could have gone over what to do, they could have tried to do some negotiating. We don't know if they did or not. As far as we know, they didn't. And Sarah just got into her head, probably thanks to Adam, that extermination was the best option and the only option. But yeah, I don't get why they couldn't have tried to work together, tried to see if this would work, because one thing that we notice is that many of people in hell are more, merciful than whoever is in heaven, which is funny considering heaven is supposed to be, the epitome of good and compassion, all the good virtues. But and hell is supposed to have all the opposite. However, from what we see in this episode, that's not really the case. Obviously, we can tell with Adam on that one, because he's not... Funny thing is, when in episode 1, when Luke was saying that angels never make mistakes, she obviously didn't take into account... One, she didn't take into account Lucifer, who was an angel who made a mistake. 2, Adam is not an angel. He's a winner. Because he was a human soul that died and went to heaven. Wasn't born an angel. So he's not technically an angel. He might have the wings, but he's not an angel. He's a winner. But anyway, forgetting about that, and if it was possible, this whole thing would have benefited heaven in the long run, if it was possible that people could be redeemed and go to heaven. Because then they could have gotten more winners up into heaven that deserve to be up there after redeeming themselves, and hell's population would go down. So I don't get why Sarah is so adamant on not doing this. Like I said, even if it didn't work and it's not possible, they at least would know, and Charlie would try to find a different way to help her people and protect them. They could have done negotiations on that. But no, Sarah is absolutely adamant that it is not possible and doesn't even want to try and find a compromise. And besides, Charlie's not looking to even attack... Charlie and Lucifer aren't even looking to attack heaven. Nobody's looking to attack heaven. I don't even know where she got the idea that apparently hell is trying to uprise. Where she got that idea, I don't know. Maybe Adam planted that one in her too. Who knows? Anyway, my whole rant aside, essentially she tells Adam to try and stop this before it gets out of hand. And yeah, Charlie goes to meet up with Emily after they got to the hotel room to go to the zoo to pet some cute animals. And Vaggie doesn't go with her for some reason. I don't know why. Because surely she would want to be with her girlfriend every single second that they're up there, essentially in enemy territory, if you want to look at it like that. Because even if she trusts Emily, Adam is still up there, And speaking of the devil, which is funny considering he is a winner, not a sinner, Adam shows up after Charlie left, and essentially we get the bombshell dropped that a lot of people theorize that Vaggie was indeed an ex-angel, and it obviously wasn't confirmed when people were theorizing about it because it hadn't come out in the show yet. But now it is absolutely confirmed that she was an angel. To be more specific, an exorcist angel. She was one of Adam's girls. And I do wonder, does he create? Does he have the power of creation to be able to create exorcists? Was he given that power by Sarah, or... I highly doubt he was born with that power. Or not born. I don't think he had that power when he got into heaven. He had to have been given that power at some point. So, yeah. Anyway, we find out that essentially she was an exorcist angel. She was down there during the exterminations and doing, what they do best. However, she ended up cornering, I guess, one of the kids from Cannibal Town. Because, the black eyes. And she chose not to kill the kid. She showed mercy. And this is what I was saying earlier as to it makes no sense that someone who is showing compassion, showing mercy to somebody else does not deserves to be up in heaven, essentially, normally. But according to Lute, she does not deserve to be up in heaven. She deserves to be in hell. I'm like, why? Isn't good and compassion and kindness and everything supposed to be what heaven's all about, And she not only cuts out Baggy's eye, I think it was, her left eye. Which is where the X on her eye came from, because of Lute, using her angelic weapon, I might add, and then grabs her wings and rips them off. She doesn't cut them off with the angelic weapon, she rips them off with her bare hands. And they take, somehow, I'm guessing halos are physical parts of your body, because they grab that too, and they walk off with it, and leave her to die, essentially. And she ditches her uniform, and that's where Charlie finds her. And takes her in, essentially. And this was, I think 3 years before the current situation? Give or take? And, yeah, that's where that popped up. And essentially Adam tries to get her to work for him again and testify against, essentially not give Charlie what she wants, essentially. Or he would out her to Charlie that she is an angel, because obviously Charlie does not know this. Otherwise, she probably would have been going to Baggy for information on the angels and stuff, And it gets time for the meeting, and sadly Adam is at the meeting, and that's not what Charlie wanted, obviously. Because that's going to make it even harder. And sadly, her information for the meeting is thrown out the window because it's all Webster dictionary it's dictionary definitions, essentially. But I mean, I can't blame her for using that, to be honest. Because as far as we know, they know how people get into heaven and hell. So of course, they would be trying to change their minds on that. And Adam comes up with a bogus list of, what was it? Stick it to the man, be selfless, and don't steal, I think that's what the other one was. There was 3 different things. And, I mean, hello. Anyway, they tell them that they got a patron, and somehow Adam already knows who Angel Dust is. Like, seriously, what, do they have porn up in heaven? Actually, that would be kind of funny. And it's also even weirder because it's heaven. You would think that sort of stuff wouldn't be able to get past the pearly gates, Anyway, they show what what Jerry and the others are up to, and Cherry tries to get Angel to take some pills and go all out like he used to. And Husk is trying to be the voice of reason here and telling him, yeah, aren't you trying to get into heaven? Aren't you trying to get redeemed? This is going to mess up your progress, essentially. And I think he only opts in to get some alcohol instead of the pills, too. And this whole time, Penchus is trying to flirt with Cherry Bomb, trying to essentially show he's interested in her, and he's failing miserably, and it's a running joke in the episode where, dang it, what was the first one? I know one of them was, I'm buying shots for everybody, and the whole for everybody thing is popping up in the dang show, and sadly, they do show I'm not going to say it's a joke. It's supposed to be passed off as a joke, but it's not, technically. But, yeah, anyway. It shows, all of them having alcohol. Nifty can't handle her alcohol because she gets stinking drunk. Tries to, I guess, start cleaning, stealing others' drinks, and Angel just gives the guys who she stole the drinks from money to get new ones. And he tries to stop her from stealing cleaning solutions, and essentially tells her, why are you being such a mess? And that makes her cry because, like, I'm the mess? And he essentially tries to comfort her and tells her, go play with Husk. And now that Peaches has got some liquid courage in him, he goes and tries to get her to go have sex with him in one of the sex rooms, and she's like, well, wait, why would we have sex? Anyway. He tries to, she's like, she doesn't outright reject him. She does ask, wait, why would we have sex? And then here comes the running joke that's not really a joke, because I'm having sex with everyone, which obviously he does not mean. And everybody hears this and tries to drag him into the sex room, and, well, this is kind of a rape, technically, because, so it's not a joke. But they're trying to pass it off like it is one. I don't know who the heck had that idea, but yeah, not good. And, they tried to, we find out the Valentino's there too, and as they try to leave, Nifty runs off in his direction. Angel tries to go after her, and he manages to grab her before she gets too close, but sadly Valentino notices them, and essentially thinks he's bringing her as to be part of his group, and when he tries to get close, she tries to bite him. And I'm like, yes, try to bite, let her do that. Because he deserves it, essentially. And essentially, he tells Valentino to fuck off. And we find out a little detail on his contract is that, yes, Valentino can do whatever he wants to him, but only in the studio. Anytime outside of it, he can't do shit like that, anyway. And so, since he's out of the studio, he can essentially tell the guy to fuck off. And he gets smacked because of it, which I'm guessing is the only thing that Valentino can do to him. And essentially that gives us an idea of maybe some leeway we can use to get Angel out of his contract. But, yeah, essentially by this point, they try to see if Cherry would want to join them at the hotel, and she's like, no, I'm good, you don't have to worry about me, and she goes to have sex with the next guy she sees, which if she had just stood there for maybe a few more seconds, she would have seen Peaches, and he would have gotten what he wanted, but nope, he got cock-blocked for her. And by this point, Charlie is telling them that, yes, he did everything on your dang checklist, so how is this not... And then Adam's like, well, why isn't he here then? Because he doesn't have a freaking argument to stand on this one. And I'm assuming the reason that Angel Dust is not there at this point is because of his contract with Valentino. If he didn't have the contract, he probably would have ended up redeemed right then and there. Maybe. And this starts the next song, You Didn't Know. And if I remember correctly, I think Emily's voice actor is supposed to be the original voice actor for Charlie in the pilot. Correct me if I'm wrong, I have to go look. But, yeah, and essentially showing that even... Sarah's claiming essentially that there are things that Charlie doesn't even know, and I'm like, why don't you tell her? Why don't you tell her that essentially why you think it's not possible for sinners to be redeemed, or why you think it's not possible to work at all, or what can get somebody into heaven? Do you not know? And if no, you don't know, why? Is it something that only the higher-ups would know? That are higher up than you? Because we haven't seen anybody that's higher up than Sarah at this point. We haven't seen any of the archangels. We haven't seen God. We haven't seen anybody like that. So, yeah. And Adam ends up letting it out of the bag that the exterminations are happening. And Emily had no clue. So Sarah was the one in charge of this whole thing. And Emily gets pissed off because Sarah's trying to justify what she's doing, and there's no justifying this, because she could have easily have tried to compromise with any of them. She could have tried to compromise with Lilith and Lucifer. She could have tried to work with Charlie on this, but no, she's dug her own grave on this one. And essentially, Charlie and Emily essentially claim that if hell is forever, then heaven has to be a lie. Because it's not fair that everybody in hell is judged and essentially killed for something that has happened already, that they are already in hell for and suffering for eternity. And yet, there are people like Adam up in heaven, and he acts essentially like anybody in hell would, and yet he gets to stay in heaven. That's not fair. And yes, I know life's not fair, but still, this is heaven and hell we're talking about here. He should not be able to be in heaven with the way he acts. And yes, I know he's the first man, but still, that doesn't give anything for that. If you're going to hold winners to the standard that you're supposed to hold them in, hold him to it too. Because that would have probably gotten them sent straight to hell, but still. And essentially, Sarah claims that this proves that doesn't give any proof that sinners can be redeemed. But I mean, you've only given them a short amount of time to even try. And if it hadn't been for Valentino's contract with Angel Dust, that could have proved it right there, you know? But yeah, essentially, Adam is now going to be taking his group to the hotel first when they go down for Extermination Day. Or the early Extermination Day, I should say. And, to top it all off, Adam blows the lid on Vaggy's secret. He claims it loud and proud for everybody to hear, including Charlie. So now, she has found out that her girlfriend has been lying about who she is for the past 3 years, which, I mean, kind of hard to justify telling your loved one that you used to be an exorcist angel that killed millions of her people. So, yeah. So that is episode 6, and I'm going to actually split this up into 2 videos, so this is only going to be episode 6. Anyway, I'll see you guys in the next one. I'm going to have to edit this.